if you can share maybe 2 to 3 things, could be like a myth busting, which you think that recruiters do or don't do, but the world thinks otherwise.
So when you go for an interview, they're asking you for stories, they're asking you for data on why you're the best person. So make sure that you have a good storytelling framework so that you can tell the best stories.
And how did you get the idea of Vibey? Because I love Vibey.
So we came up with our own little character called Vibey, and we make him as relatable as possible to humans. But it's still fun.
Top 3 tips for the audience on how to stand out for any recruiter.
Yes, things are tougher for fresh grads because AI is cutting away a lot of the entry-level grunt work that we used to hire entry-level roles for, but that's not the end of the world.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of edX Talks, and this episode is going to be specially for all my high schoolers and college students who are looking to get into jobs in the next couple of years, or probably are doing a job search now and are trying how to make their career, how to figure out what we want to do, how to reach there, what are the right steps, what are the don't do's. So make sure you're watching the episode till the end, and let me introduce you to the very special guest that I have. An interesting fact is that I met her during my own NUS orientation. So I have with me Cindy Viravan, who has been into career coaching and recruitment and talent acquisition for almost more than a decade now, right?
Yes.
And, she has coached so many students. She goes to universities like NUS itself. And, the first time I attended her session, I was like, will you please be on my podcast? Because this is something that I need to capture for my audience. So thank you so much, Cindy, for taking out this time and being with us.
It's my pleasure, Varisha. I knew I had to say yes when you came up to me.
Thank you so much. So without any delays, can we start with the conversation?
Yes.
So this video is going to capture a lot of, the questions that we have in our mind about career coaching. But before I dive into that, I would like to know about your personal journey as well. How did Cindy get into career coaching? What was the moment when you felt that I need to help others make their careers?
Yeah, I love this question. This brought me back to my own postgrad journey in Australia.
Okay.
So I started off as a headhunter or a recruiter, as many knows that.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Australia to do my master's, I saw a very big problem, which was also an opportunity.
Okay.
So I realized that a lot of my international student friends were not getting the corporate jobs that they wanted.
Right.
So for me, I had no issues. Even though I was an international student too in Australia, I easily found a recruitment job.
Okay.
Because of my network.
Got it.
And that was how I decided I'm going to transition and use my recruitment skills to give people insider knowledge on how to win over the recruiters.
Got it. That's lovely. So you were like, now I know the inside insights, so let me just share it with others.
Yes.
Lovely. And you also mentioned that you were able to get it from your network and, from all the following that I've been doing for you on your LinkedIn and Instagram. I know that you specifically emphasize on the network being a person's net worth, and how important it is. Can you please share with the audience, first of all, why is that? Why is network such a huge and important thing? And secondly, how do we network correctly? Because, a lot of times we even go to these events, but we're not just able to get the value that we really want. So how can we do that?
Yeah. So why your network is your net worth is because I think if you're a young person, you know that there's so much competition out there. And it's not about what you know. Many young people think it's just about what I know, my degree, the schools I go to, the grades that I get. But that's not true. It is about who you know and who they know. And number 3, if they know you. So if they know you and you know them, you can shortcut so many things in life. I always believe that every opportunity that you want is just one person away. So if let's say you want a job at a certain company. If you know somebody in that company, it is much easier for you to get a foot in the door. Maybe not get the job because that depends on your qualifications and how you present during the interview, but you definitely would have a higher chance of getting an interview in those companies.
Right. And how do we network correctly? Like, how do we ensure that a lot of times we know people, but like you said, if people know us, how do we ensure that people also know us?
Yeah, I will use you as an example for Aisha, because I remember that when I did the presentation skills workshop with you, you definitely stood out and you were confident, and you actually approached me very confidently after class and presented me with this opportunity. You invited me to your YouTube channel. So you were not asking to get a job from me, or you were not asking me, can you send my resume to your network, blast this around, but you gave something that is interesting for me, and you were able to turn that one class into like a longer term relationship, right? Like I don't even
Thank you so much.
remember many of the students from your session, but I remember you because you made a good first impression. You had the guts to come up and invite me to this. And I think you also stayed in touch with me through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a great channel for young people to network.
Thank you so much, first of all, mentioning that. I didn't even, think of, it like that. But I'm really grateful that you do remember me. And you have also given me the, I would say, opportunity to staying in touch. You've been so kind and, even saying yes for this podcast. So thank you so much. And again, coming back to LinkedIn, you're also a LinkedIn top voice, specifically for careers and jobs. There's a lot of noise about LinkedIn, and I would say also on LinkedIn when it comes to finding jobs and, building your profile. And sometimes people are like, LinkedIn is just about bragging and, what is the right approach to make LinkedIn actually work for us?
Yeah, I get that all the time that, all these people are bragging on LinkedIn. Yeah. I don't want to be one of them. I would say that on LinkedIn, you can start with an ABC approach. A is to attract. LinkedIn is used to attract potential recruiters, potential future colleagues, and even partners or collaborators if you want to start your own business. So make sure that you have an attractive profile and attractive activity. And B is to build your brand on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is not a job search platform. Many people think that, let's just go on LinkedIn if I'm looking for a job, but it is actually a branding platform where you can brand yourself, be remembered, and you can stand up amongst the sea of other fresh graduates. And then C is connect. So make sure that you connect strategically and also connect with the right people that will expand your network.
Thank you for sharing that. And one, I would say, key takeaway is going to be that LinkedIn is a branding platform, because seldom people think of it that way. So thank you for putting that out. And I would also like to know from you, you are in touch with so many young people, so many people who are looking for jobs. And currently we do live in a very unstable world, I'd say, and all these headlines about the economies probably crumbling, and the future, like AI is going to be there and people are going to lose jobs, and especially it's the freshers who are going to get cut away. I am sure it's not all true, because there has to be a silver lining to this as well. But I would want you to share your opinions and probably what the ground reality is, because you work in that.
Unfortunately, I know that it's not what fresh grads want to hear, but yes, things are tougher for fresh grads because AI is cutting away a lot of the entry-level grunt work that we used to hire entry-level roles for. But that's not the end of the world, because there still are a lot of new jobs being created, and some of these jobs we don't even know what they are, because things are changing so fast. Like 5 years ago, you would not even have heard of what is a Grab driver. A lot of the jobs that we see today, we didn't even know what they were a few years ago, like before COVID. So it's not the end of the world. There will be jobs for you, just that you need to know what are the key skills to have, and make sure that you are networking and also building your own AI skills, because in the future you can't run away from AI, so you might as well skill yourself with it so that you can be a much more productive worker with the help of AI.
Got it. And do you think there would be any industry that is going to have more sustained job or more upcoming jobs as compared to the others?
I would say that every single job will be affected by AI across every industry.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So it's not really that if I'm going in tech, I'm safer, or if I'm going in creative field, I'm safer. It's just that if you have the right skills for your own industry and the network.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit when the internet was first invented, we thought it would only affect certain industries, but you can see now that the internet has infiltrated and affected every single
I think it's
industry.
changed the way everyone works, and not just works, everyone thinks.
Yes.
It's huge, and probably even the AI impact is going to be bigger than that in the coming years.
Yes.
So let's see what happens. As of going to be fresh grad myself, I really hope there are jobs and good jobs for us, the kind of roles that we want. And Cindy, do you also think that probably your degree or the kind of school that you're coming from affects that? Or if somebody is from probably a tier 2 university or school, but they have a stronger network, they still have the leverage?
That's a good one. I would say that both have their own strengths and weaknesses. If you have a degree from a strong branded university like NUS, for example, immediately you already have some bonus points, because some recruiters, they do look for certain universities and the branding that it perceives. But I would say that the brand effect may not last for the rest of your career. It only lasts for like the first few years of your career. After that, it really is up to your own skills, your own network, your own branding in the workplace to continue to be selected for the opportunities that you want, right? And then for person B, the one that didn't come from a top tier university but has got a strong network, they would also be able to get the jobs that they want through the network if it's really strong and they've got a good brand, and of course they also need to have the skills to do the job.
Right, but then if they have the capabilities, then probably even I would say lesser branded university or school would not be a hindrance.
Yes, correct.
Got it. And one more aspect that I would like you to touch upon is, let's say, we have an interview or something, and because you've been in recruitment, maybe top 3 tips for the audience on how to stand out for any recruiter in that initial interview, or maybe a 5-minute call, or even like with your individual elevator pitch. So what are the 3 things that we should do to stand out to any recruiter and obviously increase our chances of getting that job?
Okay, I'm going to use something that you've learned before in the workshop, which is the 3 V's. So the first V is visual. That is like what the recruiter will see during the interview. And that's everything from your body language, from what you wear. So make sure you wear something smart and appropriate for the interview, and also how you shake hands, how you make eye contact. So make sure your visual impression is strong for them to remember you, and that they can also feel your confidence just from the first V.
Right.
And the second V is the vocal, which is how you sound, because you can go for an interview with all the right answers, but if you sound really boring like this, in this kind of tone of voice, and you don't express enthusiasm for the role, people can hear it from the way you express things. So how you sound matters in the interview and leaves either a good or a not so good impression. And the third one is verbal, which is how do you structure your answers. So when you go for an interview, they're asking you for stories, they're asking you for data on why you're the best person. So make sure that you have a good storytelling framework so that you can tell the best stories that show that you're the best person for the job.
Wow. Can you also maybe share an example of storytelling? Maybe how do I put my profile or an experience in the form of a story, if you may have?
Yeah. I can think of a couple of examples. Let's say a common interview question is, what is your biggest achievement? And I remember one of my ex-students said that her biggest achievement was having a degree from Australia. Now, I don't think that would land very well with the interviewer, right? Because she's not the only one with a degree from Australia. So I asked her a few questions to bring out the story, and at the end of it, I framed her answer that her biggest achievement was completing her degree with a distinction in spite of having to go through a lot of personal challenges, such as having a health condition. But despite it, she pulled through and she still managed to have a part-time job that help her with her university expenses and still get a distinction.
Wow. Amazing. I think it's like adding the human touch to your skills and the degrees or whatever factual things you have.
Yes, it's the exact same story, but it's how I help her to present that story.
Right, lovely. And what is Vibe Tribe then, Cindy?
Oh, I love this question. So Vibe Tribe is a networking community that I just started in Singapore a few months ago. And the sole purpose of that community is to help people to get seen, get trusted, and get chosen for the opportunities that they want. So that includes both in-person networking. I run events in Singapore. For now, I might bring it out to globally, and you're all invited if it's global one day. And we also help people to do that on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is really one of the best platforms for networking, especially for students.
Got it. And how did you get the idea of Vibey? Because I love Vibey.
Okay, so Vibey is actually our little mascot. I should have brought our mascot along. We have like this stuffed toy. I think that we got that idea because, like what you said about LinkedIn, there's a lot of noise. People are doing things the same way. Yeah. And we wanted something that's a bit different that will stop the scroll on LinkedIn. And we realized that actually even adults, or students, once they've reached a certain age, they still like to play. They still want something that is a bit like Disney kind of storytelling. So we came up with our own little character called Vibey, and we make him as relatable as possible to humans. But it's still fun because we've got comic strips telling his story of how he's struggling on LinkedIn, but he's still showing up despite his struggles, that our audience can relate to and also have fun with that Vibey mascot. Yeah.
I really love that, and you should definitely go to the LinkedIn and Instagram and check out those comic strips. They're fun. And building on that, Cindy, I would also want to know, because you've been doing your own work since long and now building a Vibe Tribe as well. A lot of youngsters also want to get into entrepreneurship, especially, again, when we say that jobs are uncertain, people feel that building something of our own is probably more certain or more fulfilling. But I feel there are a lot of challenging, and there are certain things that, you need as a foundation to build on as an entrepreneur. For example, if you don't have a network, you can't really build yourself into that entrepreneurial journey, right?
Yes.
So, what, as per you, are the key things that we need to see if I have or I don't have? Maybe I need to still work on that before starting something of my own.
Okay. Actually, I'll give a key advice first for that. Like if you're still studying or you just graduated, right? You can always start a side hustle. So don't fully launch 100% into a business and like I'm a full-time entrepreneur after I graduate, because that's going to be quite challenging without that foundation or the network or even the funds to sustain you for at least a few months. So if that's not you, don't launch into it, but make like a side experiment or a side gig first. And once that is making enough money that can more than cover, let's say, a full-time job, then that's when you can fully launch into it. So that's my perspective. I know that there are other people that feel that they should just jump 100% into it without going into a full-time job. And all kudos to them if they've got the financial runway and the time for the business to succeed.
But I think that's again because probably they do have a backing to support them financially and with the connects, But if you're building something totally from scratch, I think even I agree with you that you do need experience also. Like even to fully launch into entrepreneurship, it always, I think, adds credibility if you show that I've already worked in this industry, maybe as a job or freelancing or whatever.
Yes, definitely. It helps with how you talk to them as well, because you would have had some professional experience and you would have learned how to talk in a professional way. What are the etiquette when talking or when working in corporate?
Right. Or just like, you did, knowing the insides of that industry. So, and how, we can actually improve our chances of getting an interview? Because if I talk about a person like me, I feel if I'm able to talk to the person, it's very easy for me to build that connect. But the challenge is how to reach to that stage, how to get that interview or how to get that person to talk to me. And then I can show that, this is all I've done and this is who I am. But then the first step is harder. So how do we, improve our chances or maybe stand out in that way and get that interview call?
Yes, got it. So 2 things, networking and LinkedIn. So I actually used to recruit for India, and I remember the first time I recruited on naukri.com, I had a shock of my life. Because I had so many CVs coming in that it broke my system. Our IT guy actually had to call me the next day and tell me to stop the advertisement on Naukri because the database could not accept the incoming resumes. So guess what I did? I stopped the advertisement. I didn't even look at the thousands of resumes that had come in because I didn't have time. And I just went on LinkedIn and I looked for an outstanding graduate with a little bit of experience. And I contacted her from that. So that's one. Use LinkedIn. Make sure that you have your LinkedIn optimized because headhunters are actually going there to find you because some of them prefer that compared to looking through thousands of resumes. And number 2, networking into the company that you want to work in. So for example, if you want to work at a specific company, go on LinkedIn and find somebody who works there, connect with them, build a relationship, and slowly you can always ask if they're open to referring you into that company, and that will bring your resume up to the recruiter's eyes. It doesn't even have to go through the system.
Okay, got it. And I'm honestly not amazed hearing the India story. Because I think it's just that we have a lot of people who are looking for these jobs and lesser opportunities comparatively. But having said that, like you shared that you just went to LinkedIn and you found out, that's something that people would not think a recruiter does. And I'm sure there would be a lot of other things like that as well. So if you can share maybe 2 to 3 things, could be like a myth busting, which you think that recruiters do or don't do, but the world thinks otherwise?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Another thing recruiters do is they actually do look at your LinkedIn profile, as well as some of them will even Google you just to make sure that you're somebody that is like safe to work in that company, right? So make sure that whatever is digitally available about you out there looks good. There's no like crazy or weird photos or crazy comments that you left on somebody's post that puts you in a negative light, because that could like flip the tables around.
Okay, so like digital footprint matters for jobs as well, not just the US visa.
Yes, correct. And not just the recruiters, but your other colleagues, your future colleagues might also be looking you up.
Right. Before we wrap up this video, if you have one message that you can share with the audience, probably the youngsters.
Oh, I have so many messages.
We're open to as many as you can share.
I think if there is one message, I would encourage everybody to take the path less traveled, and you don't need to follow the mainstream way of doing things. Like that's why in Vibe Tribe, I don't follow the mainstream way of building a business. I think of my own things. And even in my own university life, I made a few choices that most of my friends didn't make, like taking a leave of absence to go on a cultural exchange program. So my graduation was delayed by half a year compared to my friends. Yeah, so I would say that if you're able to, you take the path less traveled. You don't always need to follow the mainstream way if that's not your thing.
Thank you so much, Cindy. It was amazing having you and knowing all these insiders from you. And I'm sure you all have got a lot to take from this video. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends who are probably in university, colleges, or even looking for jobs, or finding out the correct career path. If you have more questions, or you would want to connect with Cindy for your personal guidance or career coaching, we'll put the link below. And have a good day. Like the video, share the video. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Thank you so much.